Hi, I'm Michael Hyatt with PlatformUniversity.com, here with another platform tip. And I want to talk about some of the top blogging mistakes that I see people make. Number one, they don't post often enough. And worse than that, sometimes people post irregularly. You know what I'm talking about. You go like 3 days in a row and then it's 3 weeks before you post again. That creates real havoc for your audience because you're not predictable. They don't know when you're going to post and they don't have any way to anticipate it. So you got to post often enough so that you can build up a rhythm and build up an audience around it. And I would recommend get consistent with once a week, then maybe go to twice a week and maybe 3 times a week.
Mixing it up. Content's big. We know that. We've talked about that. One of the things that we leverage, this is ours, we use motivational quotes, huge connection piece for people. Humor, again, meeting people where they are, and the fun piece, we use a lot of humor. Personal, social media info, company news, promotions, our blog, all of these are a piece of the content strategy that we have.
The chat room, just in general, this is a big topic. How often do I post? And in one day, what times, all of these things. But this to me is, if you've got 2 per day, 1 per day, that's 6, 7 per day.
Yes.
Is that an acceptable amount?
I recommend at least 4 times a day, because Facebook has gone to a pay-to-play model. In other words, they've made it a little bit more difficult for us to engage with our audiences because they're not allowing our audience to see our post unless we're promoting them or running ads, etc. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a moment. How you leverage Facebook ads to get in front of your audience.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Ducker here from virtualbusinesslifestyle.com. I am here at Blog World in LA with pro blogger himself, Darren Rowse. A great session here on blogging from the heart, but smart. And I haven't attended that many sessions this time around, but this was one that I was really happy that I sat in on because I learned a lot myself, particularly in regards to storytelling and that sort of type of thing, trying to really connect with the readers. So, you've been doing this a few years now. What do you think is the one thing that you've learned from telling stories with your audiences?
Look, I think the thing that's kind of hit me in the last few weeks, and particularly when you come to a place like this, is you meet readers who come up and they say, I remember this post you wrote. And it's really interesting to do some analysis on the type of posts that people remember, and they're quite often story posts. So what I find is when you tell a story, whether it be your own story or someone else's, you create a memory for people, whereas if you write a how-to post, that kind of is fleeting information quite often for people. It doesn't create that relevance or resonance with people that a story can. So I've told stories on my blog that people have remembered since 2003, 2004.
Which you've long forgotten,
Which I've long forgotten myself. Right. But they remember it because it's had some connection on a deeper level with them because they have had a similar experience or a similar feeling. Stories do make people feel things, and I think the feelings often last.
So once we understand how buyers prefer to discover, consume, and act on information, like what's going to work with them, then we employ a content accountability model called Attract, Engage, Convert. And that basically means any kind of content we create or repurpose or whatever has to be accountable in its ability to attract the right audience, to engage them in a meaningful way, and to convert them. And convert really means take action, not just filling out a form, but taking some kind of action, whether it's a social share or recommending you to somebody else. So stats, quotes, tips, case studies, any facts, right? Anything like that are very, very useful and portable, if you will, for repurposing and reconstruction. So as you understand what it is that we stand for as a brand and what is it that our customers want to solve for, we translate that insight into keywords, themes, the stories we want to tell in our marketing, and we pick target topics, we pick amplification channels like social networks, we pick the keywords we're going to optimize for, and we can use those in a template. So you can create a template for repurposing, is what I'm saying. Each piece of content is a recipe, right? If you really think about it, it's a recipe. And start working with those ingredients. So what kind of content burger would your customers want, right? Think about, and you get data, you have web analytics, social media monitoring, you have influencer tracking, there's all kinds of data inputs that you can use to identify what kind of content, what kind of media, what channels would be most relevant for your target audience.
We're upstairs on the main floor with Lee Odden, who everybody knows, and he just did a content marketing presentation, solo presentation. And Lee, 3 things I'd love to have you share with the broader SCS audience from that great session you just did. First, you talked a lot about having a content marketing strategy. Map that out a little bit. Give people a little diagram on that.
Sure. Well, a lot of folks in the search business are using the behavior of searches to guide the content creation.
Right.
Meaning that they're trying to capture traffic based on demand.
Right.
That's a reflection of how popular one phrase is over another.
Right.
And in a content marketing strategy, what we're looking at is buyer personas. We're looking at the information consumption needs and preferences of consumers, whoever we're trying to reach,
Right.
and then we're optimizing that.
Right.
Right. So we're putting the customer first,
Mapping out
not
by
the behavior
mapping
first.
out by a target customer.
Sure, absolutely.
What kind of content types we have?
Sure. I mean, and so part of the tips that come along with that were, creating an editorial plan like a publisher would.
Right.
I'm a magazine, I'm a newspaper, I know in advance what I'm going to be writing about.
Right.
I also know how I'll be promoting that content after it gets published.
Right.
Marketer needs to do the same thing.
Across, give people an example of the various search channels, the various social media channels you need to map that out against.
Sure. Well, you look at the top search engines in terms of actual volume. Google's number 1, YouTube be number 2.
Right.
And then it's a little bit of a battle actually between the number of queries that are actually logged for Twitter. It's like 18 billion queries are logged through search.twitter.com and the third-party applications like Seismic and TweetDeck. So, you got to look at that plus Yahoo and Bing and image search and other media-specific search.